farm inputs and poor market prices, leading to food shortage. Elvis Kosgei with that story.
First, farmers were not able to plant in February, as it is always the case, because there were no rains. Planting was therefore delayed until late March and April. The crop would have achieved a certain height by then, but the poor rains did not allow it. This season produce is expected to drop due to rain failure between April and June. Farmers are now saying that the climatic conditions might lead to relatively low yields, close to 30%, adding to the farmers' plight of expensive farm inputs.
Ingawaje kutakuwa na upungufu sehemu nyingi, lakini sehemu yetu Uasin Gishu na parts of Trans Nzoia tunaona sio mbaya sana. Ingawaje imekatika kidogo, lakini sio mbaya sana.
2 months ambao hatukupata mvua chochote, ambao hata hiyo ndio ilileta shida wakati tunataka kufanya top dressing. Ikawa shida kwa sababu mahindi inakuwa mvua jua iko, lakini huwezi top dress mahindi yako, ambao pia ilikuwa ni shida ambao haingewezekana tufanye kazi vizuri kama kila mwaka.
Mambo ya mwaka hii tulianza mzuri kutengeneza mashamba, lakini wakati tulipanda mvua ikakuwa kidogo. Hiyo sisi makosa ya mtu. Chapokuwa tu tunaambia serikali waangalie maforest ndio mahali inatoa maji. Na matarajio yetu ya mwaka hii tunaona iko chini. Maana mahindi karibu Uasin Gishu iko na shida kwa mavuno. Shauri ilikuwa affected na maneno ya drought ya kiangazi.
Kiptuma, farmer from Soi in the county of Uasin Gishu, was another 30 acres under wheat, estimates his production may reduce from 25 bags per acre to about 10 or even less.
Ile tutapata kidogo ni hiyo. Serikali ijitahidi, maana naona shortage ya mahindi inaweza kuwa, kwa sababu ni kama nusu katika hii county. Na mchunge bei mkulima.
Mahindi yangu itakuwa nimekata kama 20-30%. Vile imekuwa kwa sababu nilipanda nyuma kidogo, lakini kwa majirani zangu wengine, watu wengi, mimi naona mahindi yao wakipata sana ni 60%, ambao unaona mwaka huu tutakuwa na chakula.
But according to Abednego Sengwer, who works for Yara as a territory manager, there is need to initiate tough and innovative measures irrespective of the climatic condition.
These challenges of bad weather, farmers can be able to reap something out of the crop production. So what the farmers done, that's why we call it Center of Excellence, is they have really ensured that minimum tillage is a thing. So this is where you don't disturb the soils. They do a lot of minimum conservation, so that once you get minimal rains, the plant will be able to grow throughout its growth period. What we've done as well is to ensure that we bring products closer to the farmers.
Even as farmers are staring at a bleak future, there is need for good policies that will allow farmers access incentives and improve food production to meet the country's demand. Elvis Kosgei, KT News, Uasin Gishu County.
And Elvis Kosgei is still digging in to understand the predicament that farmers now find themselves in. Elvis, over to you.
Thank you, George. Indeed, farmers have been subjected to the worst season of all times. Remember, coming from a region which is the grain basket of the country, where 70% of residents here depend on agriculture. And indeed, according to the National Disaster Management, 2.3 million people are food insecure, up from 1.5 million in the last 6 months. And this is the reason why I'm now joined by the CC Agriculture, Dr. Kiplimo Araplagat, who is also the chairperson of Agriculture Caucus in the North Rift region, just to understand and get an in-depth perspective. I understand North Rift region is the grain basket, and this time round, according to the National Disaster Management, 2.3 million people are food insecure. Do we really have the capacity, owing to the drought between the month of March and April?
Elvis, thank you so much. I think as a region, we actually have a situation, and I think the government should be aware about what's going on, and all of us in government, also the county governments, we are aware. Of course, this year we had a prolonged dry spell, and our farmers actually delayed in planting, and always, whenever there is a delay in planting, even by 1 week, it will occasion shortage in terms of food production. So this year, we are expecting actually some significant drop in maize production and even productivity generally because of the short production season. And we've seen the erratic weather patterns actually now impacting negatively even in other regions. We've are now a lot of drought situations in all other parts of the country. And we know most parts of the country, of course, depend on the North Rift for food supply. Of course, we are aware most of our farmers are still holding some maize and expecting, of course, better prices. But I think because of the government suppression of the prices, setting it at 2,500, to some extent, farmers who probably have had difficulties, especially the last year, production season was very difficult because we were this happened during the time when Corona was here with us. There were a lot of challenges in accessing inputs, delays, and so many things. And I think prices, of course, we all agree that today now the prices of especially the key input like fuel is now impacting significantly on production. While you still want to keep a bag of maize of 90 kilograms at 2,500, you should be aware that the farmer also is facing a lot of challenges in terms of production cost. So there's been a lot of increasing production cost that has hampered significantly, of course, the total production of maize. And I think as a country, we need to be alive to the fact that over 80% of our consumers, the population still consume maize, and maize remains to be food. And depending again on the foreign imports may not be sustainable for us. You are all aware the president of Tanzania came to the country to intervene so that we could allow the maize from Tanzania that had been banned from being imported to the country. But ask yourself, did we ask ourselves why did Kenya Bureau of Standards, for example, stop the maize imports from Tanzania and Uganda? Because of contamination. Much of the maize that come from these countries are contaminated because of handling, especially the aflatoxin levels, and they lack post-harvest handling infrastructure generally as neighboring countries. So you expect them not to be able to give us quality maize. That again is going to impact significantly, especially on the quality of life, because diseases are here with us. The issue of the cancer and all that associated with the aflatoxin levels are going to be, of course, significant in that case. So really, we as a region, we still want to really see the government giving us some support, because we want our farmers to be able to, and Elvis, if the market was open and the government did not really want to set that price, I'm very sure that even the millers themselves understand and appreciate that the quality of maize that is available in Kenya is quite good. Okay. So we need to see more of that.
Okay. Talking of Nandi County, maybe what are you doing to secure the future of farmers here? And talking matters, policies, farmers are saying there's need to initiate tough and innovative policies that will cushion the farmers.
Yeah, Elvis, and I think for us as a region and even as a county, we're supporting farmers now to go into value addition. And we are already procuring for farmers the milling machines and several other post-harvest support services for the farmers. We are actually supporting even the production. And I think of significant importance that must be noted is that the government, national government together with county governments, now we are piloting, and we are one of the counties that we are piloting the e-voucher subsidy, which will support farmers to access inputs on time, and it will allow those traders who are trading in the inputs to be able to stock those inputs and to allow farmers to access them on time. Because one of the critical factors why we've been falling short in terms of production is when there is also delayed in planting, because probably the shortage of inputs. You remember previously we used to have government procuring directly the inputs, and in the process we have had delays occasioned by those bureaucratic procedures, which ends up not merging the timings for production for farmers. In that case, we have seen actually a significant drop in production, and we are hoping that with the new policy of e-voucher or the smart subsidies that the government is now promoting, together with the county governments, we should be able to see farmers planting on time and being able to increase production. But of course, the critical one is the one for the input, the post-harvest value addition. And we are supporting farmers now to ensure that we can get more products out of maize. Instead of selling maize in raw form, we actually do more value addition. But the challenge, Elvis, is again, while the government really, of course, supported the issue of the what we call the Big Four agenda in terms of the food security and manufacturing, on the other side, they are actually not supporting, because we now have seen a big challenge this year. They have introduced the 16% VAT on all farm implements, which actually is not supporting the manufacturing aspect and also the value addition, the food security. So actually those are the challenges we are now having as among our farmers, is that for you now to import any implement or to buy any implement, you have to pay 16% VAT, which is very wrong. You cannot really tax a productive sector. Yeah.
Lastly, according to the National Disaster Management, 10 out of 47 counties are worst hit by drought. Your projection this year from the North region?
Yeah. I think as a region, the issue of production to be able to supply to those counties, of course you would expect, we've had, for the last decade, we have actually had occasional challenges of drought. But I think as a region, we should be able to support those counties. But it's up to the government also to ensure that they support, like we stopped supporting the NCBB to be able to purchase. The strategic grain reserve, I think, has become redundant now. I don't think they've been buying maize from farmers. And I think as a country, we are doing a lot of lip service. For you to be able to support the food security and ensure that you can guarantee safety to those drought-stricken counties, you should be able to purchase from the food surplus counties and stock them even among those counties that will require them and release to them when there is drought. So really, we should be able to just ensure that we can manage. But Elvis, my challenge is that farmers are now shifting away. In North Rift, actually, you can be sure that farmers are now, a good number of them are now moving away from maize production into other value addition, high value crops, and this may impact negatively on the food consumption, the food supply in this country in the future, because we are projecting an increase in population, we are projecting an increase in maize consumption for the next decade, but again we are projecting a decrease in the area of maize production. And we cannot as a country, we have said repeatedly, we cannot as a country afford to rely on another country for our food surplus.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was Dr. Kiplimo Araplagat, the CC of Agriculture here in Nandi County, outlining some of tough and innovative measures that should be put in place that will ensure the future of farmers here from the region and also in the entire country is secured. Back to the studio.
Indeed, and we do hope that the country is food secure. Thank you, Elvis, for that comprehensive report. We want to take another short commercial break, but do stay with us. I'll be back with the home stretch of News Center right here on KTN News.